going, everyone? Today we're going to be taking off my custom intake of sorts that I made for my 2003 Saab 9-3. We're going to be putting the stock airbox back on, and I'll explain why here in a second. Pretty much, as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, this thing keeps giving me a check engine light. It didn't happen for about a month after I made this intake, and it's slowly been happening more and more frequently to where the car is pretty much going into limp mode almost any time I drive it, and it's giving me the code P0101, which is a code for the MAF right here. So there's a couple causes for this. I think at this point, one, my MAF could just be bad because this intake is bad, or who knows, but my MAF could just be bad, who knows at this point. Two, though, because I never got this code when I had the stock airbox on with the K&N filter right there. And my thinking, the most likely cause is this filter. When I got this intake for like $20 and I started to like kind of clean it up and restore it, I'll link that video up here in the top corner. The filter was just so absolutely disgusting. It was so black. I cleaned it like 3 or 4 times, and maybe the filter is just so dirty still that it's just throwing my ECU off and giving me the P0101 code. Thirdly, maybe there's an air leak in here because this is still kind of, it has almost like a hairline crack under here on this seam on the plastic right here, which should be fine with this tape together, but maybe that's also causing it. I don't know. I mean, the car runs perfectly fine, so I'm not sure what other reason there would be for this code other than this intake. So for now, at least, we're just going to remove this and we'll figure out a solution again in the future. Maybe a new filter, different MAF, we'll see. If you guys are wondering what exactly this intake is and what it's made up of, because it's partly BSR, partly custom, click the link up here in the top corner. You can see exactly how I made it. It was a pretty simple and ingenious process. But I think before we do anything, we have to rev it a couple more times, just that way you guys can hear one more time how good this sounds with the open air intake. Needless to say, I'm going to miss that sound, but let's go ahead and take this thing off now. First thing we're going to remove are all these 13 millimeters that hold in the airbox, or the heat shield, I should say. Words. There's a second one right down in there that's also held on with 13 millimeter. And lastly, we can go ahead and take off the MAF and the hose clamp that connects it to the rest of the intake. Just for good measure, we will also clean the MAF for like a 10th time. Spray the connector as well. This is just mass airflow sensor cleaner. Pretty good stuff, definitely comes in handy. Start by putting the bottom part in first. Couple things that you got to get to like feed through properly. Eventually it'll just kind of press into place just like that. Works right here. And then this little rubber bushing that fell off. Now we can drop our K&N filter back in. For anyone asking if the K&N filter makes any sort of difference, not really. It makes a little bit of a difference when it comes to sound. I definitely heard the turbo a little bit more when I upgraded over the stock air filter, and that's really it. You're not going to get really any performance gains from just an air filter. So that just kind of clips into the 2 little spots right down here. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the secondary air injection because I am a 2003 and I am lame. Next, there's the 5 screws that just go into the airbox and hold the 2 pieces together. Next, we can go ahead and reattach our MAF. Make sure to plug that back in too. And lastly, can connect it, rotate our hose clamp, and there you go. Stock intake is completely reinstalled. I should say stock airbox because I technically have an aftermarket filter, like I said. But pretty simple process. I figure now we can give it a couple of revs and we can see how much lamer and different it sounds. So there you have it, guys. That's it for today. One thing I do want to throw in at the end of the video here, if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure to do so because I've gotten some awesome rolling photography shots of the Turbo X, so I highly recommend that you check out my Instagram page because I'm going to be posting a bunch of great photos of this car, well, as well as this car too, over the coming weeks. With that being said, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Maybe we'll find a solution so I can put that intake back on, but for now, this is what we're rolling with. I'll see you all next time.